Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to the finals of the Oswego, Illinois City Championship. We have a handshake there, and we have a great matchup between two incredible players. Returning, we have Dustin Zimmerman on the right. We saw him in his top 8 match against Michael Pramwat, a very close matchup indeed. And now he's facing off against another great player, Jason Klaczynski, two-time world champion, just all around one of the most consistent players to ever play the game, one of the greatest minds we've ever seen in the game, and this should be an incredible matchup between two guys who know exactly what they're doing. So it looks like Dustin is going first. Of course, Dustin is using a Darkrai Terrakion Landorus deck. He's also played some hammers in there, whereas Jason favors a more streamlined deck, just straight Darkrai Sableye, and then Crushing Hammers as well. So we're going to see, on paper, you would just say, well, obviously Dustin has the advantage. Duh, he plays Terrakion. All he has to do is retaliate and knock out a Darkrai in one hit. Seems pretty simple. But it doesn't always work like that, you know? When you have weird stuff like Crushing Hammer, you have weird stuff like Jason can kind of play around the Terrakion by like saving or not knocking out things immediately. There's just a lot of stuff that can happen, and it's not always easy to pull off a retaliate knockout if you are in Dustin's shoes. So right off the bat, one of these big cards is going to be Eviolite. I know Dustin plays it. Jason plays it as well. I think he only plays one, maybe two. He favors Dark Claw over Eviolite because Blastoise Keldeo has been more popular recently. But Eviolite is huge in a Darkrai matchup because it makes all of the Night Spears reduced by 20, which means now instead of doing 90 and 90, which would be 180, just enough to knock out your opponent's Darkrai, it's now doing 70, and that means it's going to be a 3-hit knockout, which is obviously an extra turn of attacking, which makes all the difference when you take 2 prizes off a Pokemon. Now here, Jason, he's just playing an N, so both players will shuffle in and draw 6. Jason's going to be hoping to get like a Dark Patch this turn. He could Ultra Ball, get a Dark in the discard pile, get a Dark Patch going. But does not look like he was able to pull it off here. He is going to Ultra Ball this turn, might as well. To, just get a Dark in the discard pile in case Dustin plays an N of his own. It's something you got to look out for. And he just wants to have the Dark in the discard pile now. No need to wait for it, and he can get another Pokemon in play if he wants to. Now, I'm not sure which one he would actually get here. He's going to need a Dark Pokemon in play to Dark Patch in the first place. So he's going to need to get one into play. He's just going to take a look through his deck, see what's in there, and he'll probably end up grabbing a Sableye. It could be a Sableye or a Darkrai. Let's take a long look. And he's going to go for, let's see, Jason is known for taking his time, and he's going to go for a Sableye. At least it looks like a Sableye. Okay, yep. He's going for the Sableye. Now, he can afford to do this because basically the way the tongue-tied already. The way the math works when you're playing these games is Sableye is going to give up 1 prize, and Darkrai gives up 2. So you can afford to sacrifice 1 Sableye, and then your opponent still has to knock out 3 Darkrai EXs to win the game. So that's pretty much what happens. Now Jason here, he's got a weird decision. He's thinking about whether he should confuse Ray or Junk Hunt here. Now why would he confuse Ray, you might ask? It's kind of a weird thing, and he's actually going for it. He's just going to hit him for 10. Now this comes up big when you factor Dark Claw into the equation. See, what can happen is there's 10 damage on that Darkrai. At some point, we're going to assume that that Darkrai is the one that goes to the bench. And then if it's on the bench, it gets hit for 30 with a Night Spear, and then it gets hit again for 30, and then that'll be up to 70 damage. Then it's just a Dark Claw Night Spear for 110, which can finish off that Darkrai. So that's a pretty big deal, that 10 damage there. Jason realizes this. He sees this many turns ahead. That's what makes him one of the best players in this game. And, he figured, getting energy switch back is not going to help me as much as doing this 10 damage. This can set up a knockout long term. Whereas, getting an energy switch probably isn't going to help me too much. Because it's not going to even help me attack next turn, given what I have in my hand. And so Dustin is going to play a Skyla. We'll see what he grabs. Looks like he's eyeing that energy search. He's just going to take a look through his deck, though. And that is exactly what he takes. Grabs a Dark Energy. And, if he has the energy switch in hand, he could Night Spear this turn. That would be the first Night Spear that would be devastating for Jason. Getting the first Night Spear is a huge deal if you can attack your opponent's EX. Dustin's going to discard, he's going to Ultra Ball and discard an Ultra Ball and an Enhanced Hammer. He gets to search for Pokemon as well. Looks like he might go for that Terrakion just to have it at his disposal. And that's exactly what he's doing. So this is, I'm sure Jason knew Terrakion was there. You don't just play random fighting energy in a Darkrai deck. But that's still just kind of a reminder that, yeah, you're going to have to deal with this at some point. And he's here. Terrakion is just going to be a threat at some point. And now Dustin is going to retreat. And he played a Dark Patch, so he got an extra Dark Energy into play. He's going to Junk Hunt this turn. I would not be surprised if he went for that Gold Potion. That's going to be a huge difference maker in this matchup. Grabs Energy Search and Gold Potion. Now, why would he have Gold Potion in his deck? Well, it's actually very good in this kind of a situation. Most people would play Computer Search, but nope, he's going for the Gold Potion. And, that's actually huge in a mirror matchup like this. Because, it's gonna nullify one of Jason's Night Spears. That's what it's gonna do. It's gonna say, alright, you Night Speared me for 90. It just disappears when I play Gold Potion. And being able to get that back with Sableye is so big. It's almost not fair in this kind of a mirror match. So not only does Jason have to overcome the hurdle of Terrakion, the fighting Pokemon, knocking out his Darkrai in one hit with Retaliate, he also has to worry about Gold Potion. How's he going to deal with all this stuff? That's just, it almost seems impossible. Seems like a really bad matchup for him. But, I don't know, if anyone can do it, it's Jason. So, I'm sure he's going to try to find a way. He's going to give himself the best odds possible to try to win these games. And, I don't see a way for him to really have a positive matchup here. It just seems like everything goes against him. From the Terrakion, the Gold Potion. All you have is Darkrai, and you gotta fight against this stuff? I guess his real way of winning is just, get a bunch of Crushing Hammerheads, so something like that. Yeah, I guess if you can remove some crucial energy there, that is a way for him to win. Otherwise, that's really all he's got going for him. That's it. So he's going to attach and retreat. So neither of these players are getting a speedy start by any means. We got neither player was able to get a turn 2 Night Spear. Neither player really putting on any pressure here. We're just getting some junk hunts with Sableye. Obviously, Sableye is extremely good in these early turns because, you can just, if you don't have the cards to Night Spear, you just kind of sit back and go, alright, I'll just get back some more resources and then we'll hit him hard next turn. So Jason's going to look and see, I guess he can have that same dilemma. Do I want to Night Spear, or do I want to Junk Hunt, or do I want to Confuse Ray for 10? That's something you could keep in mind. And then he would have that Dark Claw play at some point, and it looks like he might go for the Confuse Ray again. And he is. He's going to hit for 10 damage, 10 on each of those Darkrai's. We'll see if that comes into play at some point. Remember this. Now, Dustin here, obviously, he's got an Energy Search. He's going to retreat, and he's going to Night Spear. Does he have a catcher? That's a big deal. If he just knocks out Sableye, that's not it's not a victory for him, really. The biggest victory that is for him is Jason's only going to be left with a Darkrai with 1 energy out there. And you can only Dark Patch to the bench Pokemon. So it's going to be tough for him to get the 3 energy necessary to Night Spear. And yeah, that's exactly what Dustin's going to do. But, man, it's going to be tough for Jason here. You know, he's got a Juniper and an N. We'll see which one he decides to play. Dustin did not play a supporter last turn, but he does have the Gold Potion. Jason knows that. So which one is he going to go for? Now, in order to attack this turn, Jason's going to need both a Dark Patch and an Energy Switch. So knowing that, I guess he's just going to go for the Juniper and draw 7. Does he draw both? Did he draw 7 cards? No. Alright, so he's going to draw 7 cards first. He gets the Dark Patch. He's going to move that to his Darkrai. Energy Switch up to the active Darkrai, and then he'll be able to Night Spear this turn. So this is a big turn of events. We also have a Crushing Hammer. This could be big. And Tails, so it's not big at all. But yeah, this... he's going to get the first real Night Spear, I want to say. He's hitting an EX. He's hitting an attacker. Dustin's turn was cute. You know, he knocked out a Sableye, but in terms of advancing the board position, he really didn't do much. He still has to knock out 3 Darkrai's. He's only put 10 damage on that Darkrai because of the Eviolite. And he's got a long way to go here. I mean, still Dustin has all that stuff at his disposal. He's got the Gold Potion sitting in his hand. That's a big thing. You know, Terrakion could come in at some point. He also plays Crushing Hammer. That could come in at some point. So yeah, all sorts of stuff can happen in this matchup. Looks like Dustin is debating putting down the Terrakion this turn. You know, just to kind of drop it down there with an energy and say, what's up? I'm here. And if you ever take a knockout, I'm going to be knocking on your door. Saying, yo, I heard you took out one of my buddies last turn. Now it's your time to pay. And then Darkrai is like, what? I didn't do anything. And then Terrakion just retaliates him, and, well, the game ends. Well, Darkrai's life ends, basically. But Dustin decides not to put down Terrakion as being nice. Just attaches to his Darkrai instead, and Night Spears for 70 and 30 to the benched Darkrai back there. So, yeah, this is going to be close. I would say right now Dustin has a clear advantage. He had that Gold Potion, which heals 90 damage from your Pokemon. Basically nullifies that Night Spear from last turn. Now, the 30 on the bench Darkrai is still important. We can see that 10 from Confuse Ray coming in. He can hit the active for 90 this turn, the bench Darkrai for 30, and then all it takes is a Dark Claw on another Darkrai, and he can Night Spear for 110, taking that thing out. And basically, it just allows him to use one less attack with a Darkrai to get a knockout. So clever planning from Jason, obviously. Now he's got to decide how he wants to play this. He's going to go for a random receiver. Now he's discarded a lot of supporters so far. I believe he's discarded a couple Ns. He's used at least 1 Juniper. So I guess he's got to be careful of, you know, running out of supporters. He could just kind of run out of stuff, run out of steam at some point, and that is a concern. Dustin's going to take a look through the cards that were revealed by random receiver. You can see Dark Claw, you can see Mewtwo, you can see all sorts of stuff. Computer search, so he knows that there's no Gold Potion, or no Crystal Wall or Crystal Edge. Always got to worry about that, right? Alright, so we have an Ultra Ball. See what Jason decides to discard. Gets rid of the Energy Search and Bianca. Looks like he's probably going to grab either a Sableye to discard or a Darkrai to put down to attach to. Looks like he's going to go for the Darkrai. But yeah, Jason, you know, he's just kind of trying to draw through his deck as quickly as possible so that N does not hinder him at all later on in the game. You know, if Dustin plays an N, he wants to make sure that he gets the cards he needs at the end of the game. We see Jason do this probably better than anybody. He's just kind of always, he's discarding as many cards as possible. He's just always just cycling through his deck, and he always seems at the end of the game to have very few cards left in his deck, but just the right ones. And N hardly ever gets to him because this is what he does the entire game. These are little things that you can do to improve your play, to give yourself a better chance in these matches. So Jason, he's kind of looking. He's got a crushing hammer. He doesn't know whether or not to use it here. He decides not to. He's just going to Night Spear, hit the bench Darkrai for 30, and be on his way. Now, there is, let's see, 80 damage on the active Darkrai this turn, so he is not really going to get knocked out. There's the Eviolite there, so Night Spear only does 70 to this Darkrai. So you can see how this Eviolite has changed everything in this game. If Dustin had like a Tool Scrapper, this would probably be a much different game. This would be probably, well, it would be pretty ugly, I think, if you want to be honest. And now Dustin is retreating, not retreating, thinking about it. Going to take a look at what Jason's used so far. We can see Jason's used a lot of supporters already. As I said before, 3 Junipers gone, I think 3 Ns and a Bianca. He might only have like 1 supporter left in his whole deck. I don't think he plays very many supporters. He just plays 4 random receivers, since you can get those back with Sableye. And yeah, I just... It's going to be tough for him to actually draw what he needs for the rest of the game, because he's actually discarded too many supporters, I feel. And he hasn't even taken a prize yet. When you only have 1 supporter left and you haven't taken a prize, that's usually not a good situation. But who knows? Basically all the cards he needs at this point are straightforward and simple, so it might not be that big of a deal. Now let's see what Dustin does. He's taking a look again at what Jason has gone through. He's just going to see... I think he's looking for catchers to see if he should retreat his Darkrai or not. See if he should, energy switch the fighting off of his Darkrai. I'm not sure. Because something he wants to do eventually is bring out Terrakion and retaliate for a big knockout. He wants to be able to knock out a fresh Darkrai in 1 hit. And, oh, he's actually deciding to retreat to Sableye here. I did not expect this play, but, okay, this is a good move. He's going to energy switch the fighting onto Terrakion, and then just going to use this turn to use Junk Hunt. Now, basically, it's saying, okay, if you don't have a catcher, Jason, you're going to have to walk in to retaliate. And that's probably going to be bad news for you. Now, even if you don't, or even if you do have a catcher, I have this gold potion, which will pretty much nullify your attack this turn. So, very good play from Dustin here, just taking the time to say, you know what? I'm in a comfortable enough position to do this. I can just go ahead, get my gold potion back, and we'll be fine. Now, this is a very, very scary situation for Jason here. It's all going to come down to Crushing Hammer here, and here we go. And alright, that's the big flip for the game so far. Gets rid of that fighting energy on the Terrakion. That cannot make Dustin very happy. And, yeah, that's huge. I can't stress that one enough. That is a gigantic flip, getting rid of that fighting energy. But now it's still going to be tricky for Jason to pull this off. I mean, what does he do? Does he just Night Spear the Sableye, hit the Terrakion for 30? Kind of hope that there's no fighting and energy switch. Does he catch out Terrakion and Night Spirit? Then what does he hit for 30? Does he catch out a Darkrai and knock that out? That's another option. He's going to play a catcher here. We'll see what he decides to go for. This is a very, very complicated situation. Of course, in a perfect world, you would just kind of go for the Terrakion because, well, if you take that out, you take away the big power play that Dustin has. But at the same time, Jason's just going to say, you know what? I'm going to go for my 2 prizes. I'm going to take that knockout while it's there. I know you have gold potions, so I am going to just take this while I can. We have an Ultra Ball. I guess he's going to get rid of a Sableye. This is just further thinning out cards in his deck. And we're going to see, I just want to see if Jason has any supporters left. He has 1 N, it looks like. So that is brutal. For the rest of the game, he's only going to have that 1 N. So he's almost like... Oh, he's going to computer search as well. So he might actually play that N this turn. That's strange. Or he could just go for Dark Patch and make sure he has 3 energy on his Darkrai this turn. Something I didn't think of. But looks like he's eyeing that N, which will actually be his last supporter of the game. This is weird. This does not happen very often, to be completely honest. And I think Jason might realize at this point that he is out of supporters. And he's going to play the N. Fortunately for him, his deck is very small. And he might be able to further discard cards with Ultra Balls and stuff like that. To just kind of ensure that... I mean, basically from here on out, he just needs to draw energy and Dark Patches and stuff to power up Darkrai's and attack every turn. I guess that's his main objective at this point. He also gets Dark Claw there. That's going to be useful. But no Dark Patch. And we're just going to see... Yep, he did attach once for the turn already. And we're going to see a Night Spear. I guess he was playing that M there to get rid of the Gold Potion from Dustin. Because that is a very big deal. If Dustin draws the Gold Potion, he can heal off either 70 from his Darkrai, or I'm assuming 30 is going to go onto Terrakion this turn. So he can heal the 30 off Terrakion as well. So I guess Jason just felt the need to go, you know what, I know this is my last supporter, but I know he has that Gold Potion. So if I don't end him, and he gets to heal off 90 more damage, I'm going to be on the losing end of this game. And that's a smart decision. We'll see if Dustin gets it. You know, if he draws a Skyla, he could get it. Here's a Crushing Hammer. This could be really big, and it's a Tails. That could have been huge if he removed the energy from the benched Darkrai and then knocked out the active one this turn. That would be the world of difference. Jason might not have been able to attack next turn, and then all it takes is one missed attack from one of these guys, and the game will be over. It's really all there is to it. So we see a Skyla from Dustin. I guess he's gonna it could be the Gold Potion, or he's gonna go for the energy switch. So he's just gonna go barreling in there with Terrakion. I'm not sure how I feel about it. He could have just gone for the Gold Potion and then healed off damage from his Darkrai and then gone that route. But instead he's just going to be aggressive with Terrakion. I don't mind this at all. But it seems like a little bit riskier. I'm not sure. There's nothing wrong with what he did at all. But I'm just thinking, is Gold Potion there better? And I don't know. That's actually a weird decision. But now Terrakion retaliates, knocks out that Darkrai. And it's all going to be... I mean, Jason really just... All he can do is work with what he's got in his hand from here on out. He's going to play the Dark Claw, which is huge. It's going to allow him to do 110 to this Terrakion. And, man, this is going to be close for Dustin, I think. You know, if he doesn't draw that Gold Potion, if he doesn't draw... I guess Eviolite would allow him to survive as well. He's going to be left with, you know, just a Darkrai that's got a ton of damage on it that's going to get knocked out. And not much else. Which is very scary. Now Jason is just going to look and think, do I want to bench anything else? You might want to bench an extra Darkrai here. You might want to bench your Mewtwo here, since those aren't cards that are really going to get knocked out. But you could just kind of want them out there anyway. You don't want to redraw them from N if Dustin plays one. Looks like there is a card that Jason is contemplating using here. Not sure what it is. But you can rest assured that he is going through all the options in his head. This is really like a chess match, back and forth. You don't know who's going to come out on top. You don't know who's going to make, you know, the game-winning move. But he's just going to go for a Night Spear, knocking out the Terrakion. And where is he going to put the 30? This is an interesting decision. He can put it on the Sableye, and then that means it's only 3 Night Spears away from winning. Just doing 30, 30, 30 to the Sableye. But he's going to take the safer route, just in case Dustin has either a Tool Scrapper or an Eviolite. He's going to put the 30 onto the Darkrai, and there you go. There is an Eviolite. And there's an N. So, the Eviolite alone doesn't do anything, but if he draws a Tool Scrapper as well, he can get rid of the Dark Claw, and then Night Spear will only do 70 damage. And that's not enough to knock him out, and then Dustin is at the advantage once again. See what Jason draws. Again, he does not have any supporters left, so this was really a fortunate 3 cards for him to draw. A Dark Patch and an Energy, and then a Random Receiver, which will get him absolutely nothing. The Random Receiver is whatever, but yeah, he could not really ask for a better 3 cards there. He's going to be able to really just power up another Terrakion, or another Darkrai soon. And I don't think Dustin got his Tool Scrapper, so I don't know. He might have to just Night Spear here for 90, but if he does that, he just gets knocked out. It's not a pretty situation, that's for sure. He might decide to go Landorus instead. I don't really know. He does have that out there. But all of a sudden, even though the Terrakion is in there, the Gold Potion is in there, doesn't look like Jason has it so bad, does it? I don't know. It's going to be a strange few final turns here, I think. And Dustin is going to decide where to put his energy here. He's going to put a fighting onto Landorus, and yeah, he's actually going to retreat to this Landorus. And just go ahead and Hammerhead for 60 and then 30 to the bench Darkrai. I guess he really just didn't want to give up those 2 prizes there. And I can't blame him. Now, this is going to make it interesting. Well, alright, Jason just has a catcher anyway. He's going to bring up the Darkrai. But man, that Landorus is kind of scary. If Dustin can power that thing up completely. Or, he could still get the Gold Potion. I don't know. It's going to be rough. Either player could win at this point. This is just a Darkrai mirror match for you. You never really know who's going to win. There's so many variables, especially when there's Crushing Hammer involved as well. Crushing Hammer, there's N, there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, you never really know what's going to happen. And Jason has a Random Receiver. I think he knows there's no supporters left in his deck. So he knows the card is worthless for the rest of the game, but he also knows that I'm going to reveal my entire deck if I play this card. Dustin will see exactly what I have left. And do I want to reveal that information to him? And I think his answer is no. So he decides to hold the Random Receiver. That's a very clever thing. You don't want to let your opponent know exactly what you have left. You want to keep him in the dark. And it's worth, the information is worth holding onto the card and then risking redrawing it off of an N. Lots of tricky little things going on here. So Jason is now at 1 prize, Dustin's at 3. The problem for Dustin is that it's going to be tough for him to just take his last, 3 prizes. When Jason only has to take 1. And let's see what he decides to promote here. Here comes Landorus. It really is just 2 Night Spears and the game is over. And now Dustin draws a Tool Scrapper. That's got to be heartbreaking for him. But he does have a Juniper. He drops another Dark onto the Landorus. And I think he's going to be hoping for an Eviolite here. To probably put on his Sableye if he had one. Either that or he's going to hope for some Crushing Hammers to go his way at this point. He's still got a lot of cards to work with, man. It's hard to tell. Here is a Crushing Hammer and a Tails. So that's, I don't even know if Dustin's hit one of those this game. So it's really unfortunate for him. One of those heads could have changed the game completely. And again, this is just so close. Both players are just going to keep looking at how many of this have you used? How many of this do you have left? Do you have any catchers left? How many energy do you have left? Can I exploit some little loophole because you don't have a certain something left? There's just so many little things you have to keep track of. And I think Dustin might just be one turn short of pulling this game off. That Sableye might be the death of him. Just having him out there. And we might see Jason somehow win this very, very close game when it seemed like, Terrakion came in, got a big knockout. Gold Potion came in, healed off 90 damage. Somehow he's still going to win, which confuses me greatly. But that's why he's one of the best. We have a random receiver. Dustin's just kind of thinning out cards so that he doesn't draw a supporter next turn. He has plenty of supporters in his hand. He does not want to draw one. But, alright, we have another Hammerhead here for 60 and then 30 to the benched Darkrai. And, man, I really don't know what's going to happen. I really think Jason's going to pull this one off by the skin of his teeth. And, alright, we got a random receiver here. I think this is it. He's going to reveal his entire deck here. And, yep, there are no supporters left. And you can see them all right there. Now, it's got to be frustrating for Dustin to know that, God, he has nothing left. But I can't prevent him from winning. If he has energy to attack twice, I cannot win the game. I cannot stop him from knocking out my Sableye. Maybe if Dustin had got an Eviolite and put it on his Sableye last turn, he could have pulled it off. Could have prevented the Night Spear, and then I got the Gold Potion. But man, he just can't do it anymore. And Jason's gonna Dark Patch to his benched Darkrai. And I guess he's just going to Night Spear for 90 and 30. And what's gonna happen is, sure, Dustin could get a Gold Potion, but you can only heal the active with that. And then if you heal the Landorus, you can't heal the Sableye. So there's just going to be one too many targets on his field to get knocked out. There's enough energy for Jason to Night Spear 2 more times, and that's all it's going to take for a win. I do not think there's any way out for Dustin at this point outside of Crushing Hammers, and he has used 3 of them already. So I don't think it's going to happen. But who knows? I've seen stranger things, I suppose. I think Jason's deciding whether or not he wants to retreat this Darkrai and attack with the other one so that it doesn't get knocked out by Hammerhead. I don't think it makes any difference at all. But he is definitely thinking about it. I believe it's still Jason's turn. I would think so. That's the only decision he has left. Obviously, he's going to use Night Spear, but it's a matter of which Darkrai is he going to attack with. And alright, Dustin actually realizes, okay, I can't win. It's going to take 2 Night Spears. I cannot beat you. And he scoops the game. So wow, what an incredible game from Jason. You got to hand it to him there. He just played it perfectly, right down to, the 10 damage from Confuse Ray at the beginning all the way to the end. Every little thing counted. Every little thing was perfect for him. And that's why he takes the first game. Now, Dustin, got to be a little frustrating to lose that game. You got to feel like you have an edge against Jason here. Because you have the Terrakion, you have the Gold Potion. You can knock out his Darkrai in 1 hit. At some point, that's got to take effect and you can win. But it doesn't seem like it. It seems like, Darkrai is so good that it can overcome other Darkrai's plus Terrakion. It comes down to those tools. The Eviolite was big, the Dark Claw was big. Comes down to Crushing Hammer. So, man, this is intense. We're going to shuffle up for game number 2. This is the best 2 out of 3 series. It'll be 60 minutes. They're going to continue to shuffle, make my job a lot harder, make me fill even more dead time here. But if you're Dustin, you knew who you were up against. You knew Jason was capable of doing anything. You knew he's always going to find a way to win if he can. And you can't be disappointed that you lost one game. You have to just go into the second game with a clear head and say, meh, I lost a game, it happens. I'll win the next two. No big deal. And he will get to go first. That's going to be a big advantage. Also remember that both these guys kind of had a slow start the first game. Dustin really, I mean, he got the first Night Spear, but it didn't matter. He knocked out a Sableye. Jason got the first real Night Spear. He had the Eviolite that stayed there the whole time. Dustin couldn't get a Tool Scrapper, so all these things happened. And, you know, this game it could be a lot different. So we have a Darkrai opening for Dustin. I didn't see what Jason opened with. Might be a Darkrai as well. And nope, a Sableye. So we have Sableye versus Darkrai. Dustin, you know, his hand actually did not have a supporter, but he top decked a Skyla. That's probably a relief for him. So he gets to go ahead and use that. I'm not sure what he's going to grab with it. Ooh, he's got a pretty rough hand, honestly. He's got 2 fighting energy. Now it's annoying just because, you know, you don't want to Juniper those away. So he's probably going to have to grab a supporter with this, but he's probably going to have to grab an N. Because if he grabs Juniper, then, well, he's going to have to discard 2 of those fighting, which takes away his option to Land Crush or retaliate later with Terrakion, which is a very big deal. That's the advantage he has with his deck. You know, he sacrifices a little bit of consistency by playing all these other cards. And if he doesn't have access to all that stuff, he's going to be in some trouble. So it looks like he's going to grab an Ultra Ball with the Skyla instead. He doesn't grab a supporter. Kind of strange. He's going to Ultra Ball away a Dark and a Fighting. He's probably going to grab a Sableye here. And that's exactly what he goes for. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't grab another supporter with the Skyla. Sure. Well, actually, I can see why. He has the cards to pull off a bunch of, like, Dark Patches and a Night Spear next turn, I think. And yeah, if he has an Energy Switch, he could definitely pull off a Night Spear. So he's going to go for a Dark Patch and an Energy Search. And that will be a pretty eventful first turn for him. That's, you know, this is what you aim for on the first turn with a Darkrai deck. You want that turn 1, you want to be able to use Junk Hunt, and you also want to have a Dark Patch to put an extra energy on your Darkrai to threaten a turn 2 Night Spear. So all it takes now is an Energy Switch and an Energy, and you're on your way to Night Spearing your opponent to death. And that is beautiful. So Jason, he recognized the situation. He's just going to try to see what he has. Let's see, I'm not too sure exactly what he has in his hand. Cannot see everything. I do see a Juniper, 2 Junipers. That's a pain to see all the time. You never want to have 2 Junipers in your hand. Looks like he's got the cards to Ultra Ball for a Darkrai and then Computer Search for a Dark Patch. The problem is he's going to have to discard all of his other cards. And he's just going to be left with the 1 Juniper, which forces him to discard his Crushing Hammer, which I'm sure he would have liked to actually play this turn. But he's probably just going to weigh the odds and realize it's probably just better for me to get the Dark Patch, get the energy into play, and go that route. But it's still a weird decision. So we do see an Ultra Ball. It's obviously going to go for a Darkrai. At least I'd hope so. He's just going to take a look, see. Probably going to check, see if he has any Darkrai's prized, if he has any Catchers prized, Crushing Hammers, Dark Patches. Important cards. Just going to take a quick run through of his deck. And I think he's still struggling with this decision. Do I want to Computer Search for my Dark Patch and then get the Dark Patch on a Darkrai? And I think this is the best play. You know, it's tempting to go for the Crushing Hammer and be like, if I get heads, I discard one of his energy, but it's a 50-50 shot. You're probably better off just getting the extra energy into play, making sure you have a response next turn if Dustin Night Spears you. But he's going to take his time deciding and finally takes the Darkrai. And he's shuffling again, but I'm sure he's going to play that computer search, so this is a moot shuffle. And I think he's realizing it. He's showing Dustin his hand, actually. He's just kind of saying, you know, I could Crushing Hammer and attach, or I could computer search, get a Dark Patch, and then Juniper. Sometimes Jason does this in the middle of games. I'm not sure why. He just kind of shows his hand to his opponent and says, hey, this is my dilemma. Which one would you do? And then he'll have some snide remark and then say, well, this is why I'm the best. And then he does what he wants to do. So yeah, I think he's going to go for the computer search play. Now that he's revealed his hand, I mean, he's pretty much showing it. But it is tough. You know, if you do get that Crushing Hammerheads, you can stop your opponent from getting that Night Spear turn 2, which is huge. But, you know, if you play that and you get tails, it's just like, oh, you just ruined your whole turn for a 50-50 shot. And that is painful. So I agree with this move, going for the computer search. Some people would go for the risky Crushing Hammer strategy there, but Jason's taking the more conservative approach and just grabbing a Dark Patch. Computer search obviously works very well with Darkrai because you can get the darks in the discard pile, you can search for the Dark Patch, blah blah blah, and get lots of energy into play. So there we go, there's a Dark Patch, there's a Juniper. And, yep, this is still his first turn, folks. Now we're going to see, does he get an energy? Looks like he gets an energy search. I think that's the leftmost. Yep, that was the card in his hand, so he can still get an energy. Energy search is a card we've seen featured a lot more in Darkrai decks, and in decks in general. Not only for Sableye junk hunting, but for Skyla. Being able to search out an energy if you need one is very nice. So, okay, we're going to be able to see Jason use Junk Hunt this turn. He's going to be able to get back probably a Dark Patch and then a Computer Search. I would assume those are the two cards he takes. He could also do like a Crushing Hammer. I'm sure one of the cards he's taking is Computer Search. That's just too good not to get back. He's also got to attach for the turn, I suppose. He can also thin out some other cards with Ultra Ball. I would probably not do that at this point, just because you need to discard 2 for Computer Search anyway. He's going to Catcher up the Darkrai. Now, this is kind of a strange choice, just because it doesn't really make it that much more difficult for Dustin to pull off a Night Spear. I guess it takes away his option to Dark Patch, but it's still just Energy Switch Energy, and then we have a Night Spear coming. I suppose one thing he could do is, if he wants to be really risky, he could Confuse Ray, and then say, you know what, if I get heads, you're not going to Night Spear me at all, are you? Or you could, but you have to take the risk. If you flip tails, you hit yourself, and then I'm in a tremendous position. I guess I didn't consider that. Confuse Ray is an option there. Since if Dustin's going to attack you, it's going to be with that Darkrai. He's not going to be able to power up another Darkrai this turn. It's pretty unlikely. He's only got like a 3-card hand. But yeah, we're still on Jason's first turn here, folks. Not sure what else to say. He's going for the Junk Hunt. Gets a Dark Patch. And I'm going to assume Computer Search. Yep. It's too shiny not to take. And it's an ace spec, so you only get one of them, you know? Thinking about it, and yeah, he takes the Dark Patch and the Computer Search. And alright, now it is Dustin's turn. Plays the Energy Search. Gonna grab himself another Dark. And we'll see if he can pull off a Night Spear this turn. That's a big deal if he does. If he can either knock out the Sableye or Catcher up Darkrai and hit it for 90. Both of those are big. That's going to be a huge turn for him. The problem he has is that there's really no follow-up. He doesn't have any supporters in his hand. That's annoying. But, you know, when you don't have any supporters in your hand, a good thing to do is take a prize since you get an extra card. That's exactly what he's going to do. We got a turn 2 Night Spear. Knocking out that Sableye. Putting 30 on the Darkrai, I would hope. Yeah, there we go. Wouldn't want that missing. That can change a game completely. And Dustin actually did get a Skyla off his prizes, so that was very nice. Alright, so how does Jason respond to this one? He obviously needs to Night Spear this turn, otherwise he's going to be way too far behind to do anything. But how does he do it? He's got a computer search in his hand, he's got an Ultra Ball. He's going to need a Dark Patch, Energy Switch, and an Energy this turn. That's pretty much the only way to pull off a Night Spear this turn. I guess he could do 2 Dark Patches to a new Darkrai as well. But in general, he's going to need a combination that will allow him to Dark Patch, and then get an energy, get a second energy on the Darkrai, and then attach for the turn. That's how you get to 3 in one turn with Darkrai. It's very nifty. It's seems almost unfair in a way. It just one turn is just lonely old Darkrai, and the next turn it's got 3 energy Night Spearing you, and it's not so lonely anymore. Alright, so we have, looks like he's gonna, did he Ultra Ball away a computer search? I'm not sure. That was weird. Usually you would just play the computer search since you don't have to reveal, but it might be one of those things where he played the Ultra Ball and then realized, I'm going to end up discarding computer search anyway. Oops. Whatever, not a big deal. But yeah, it's going to be tough for him to pull off a Night Spear this turn, I guess. We do have a Dark Patch. So he gets a Dark from the discard pile onto his Darkrai. Oh, he's got the Energy Switch in hand already. So now he's got to decide, does he want to attack with the Darkrai with no damage on it or the Darkrai with 30 on it? Which is also an interesting choice. The difference is, he assumes that the active one's going to be knocked out in 2 hits anyway. So he wants to lead with that one, I think. If he retreats this Darkrai with 30 on it and then attacks with the fresh one, what can happen is it can do 90, 30, and then it's going to be another 90 and 30, and then he's going to have his Darkrai knocked out, but then he's going to have a second one that has 90 damage on it already. And that's no good. That's just a Night Spear away from being knocked out, but he's doing it anyway. And we're just going to see a Night Spear for 90 damage, and then 30 to the Sableye. Now, you notice Jason decided not to use his M that turn. He noticed that Dustin didn't have a supporter. And even though it would have been nice for him to get 6 new cards, he didn't want to give Dustin a brand new hand for no reason. And that was a smart move, because, if Dustin doesn't have anything here, and he loses his Darkrai with all the energy in play, he has nothing to respond with. Absolutely nothing to respond with. So very smart move there from Jason. And we do see a Skyla for the gold potion. Oh man, this thing is just killing this mirror matchup, man. Gold potion, you saw the power of computer search from Jason being able to Dark Patch that first turn. But you can also see the power of Gold Potion. So we're seeing a lot of play from Dustin with just healing that 90 damage, man. That's been a difference maker in pretty much every game we've seen with him. Completely nullifies Jason's attack, and it's going to put him in a terrible position, honestly. We're going to have 90 on one Darkrai, 60 on the other, and it's going to force him to play the end this turn, because otherwise his Darkrai just gets knocked out. So even though Dustin really doesn't have any supporters beyond that Skyla, and which he played for the Gold Potion, that forced Jason's hand here. He's going to have to play the end this turn, because he cannot afford to just kind of sit there and get his Darkrai knocked out and then have nothing but a Darkrai with 1 energy left. He cannot do that. So now he's got to do it. He's got to draw 6 cards. And, man, it's going to be tough. You got to say Dustin is at a huge advantage at this point. He took the first prize, got the first real attack off. He nullified nullified Jason's first Night Spear with the Gold Potion. Things are looking really, really good for Dustin at this point. But who knows? Jason's done crazier things before, and maybe he'll pull something off here. And he does have an Ultra Ball and a Dark Patch, so he can get a second Dark onto his Darkrai. I'm not sure if there's actually another Dark in his card pile or not. It does not look like it. So the Ultra Ball will be necessary. But, ooh, this is actually kind of a tough choice. So he's got a Tool Scrapper and a Crushing Hammer there. He's going to have to discard one or the other. Because he has to discard the Dark to get it in the discard pile for Dark Patch. So which one do you get rid of? The Crushing Hammer or the Tool Scrapper? Which one is more important to you? The Crushing Hammer, you know, getting rid of an energy can change the game immensely. But it's a flip. The Tool Scrapper, that can also change the game immensely. If Dustin were to play it on Eviolite, and then Jason did not have the Tool Scrapper, that means Dustin's Darkrai lives one more turn. And that's just not acceptable. So, Jason decides to hold on to the Tool Scrapper instead. And he's going to go from there. Looks like he might have two Darkrai's prized. I can't actually see. Yeah, it looks like it. Plays 4 Darkrai's, and there's 2 out there, and there's none left in his deck, so he grabs a Mewtwo instead. This could be a major problem. You know, he's got to... This is just another reason why that gold potion was so big. You know, he's got to find a way to get 2 prizes now. He's got to find a way to get a Darkrai out of his prizes, because he cannot win just with 2 Darkrai's. He's going to need a third one. He cannot expect that Darkrai with 60 damage to live forever. And alright, so we have a Night Spear for 90 and then 30 to the Sableye. And yeah, I think Dustin is just at such a huge advantage at this point. He's going to need to get another attacker into play though. If he can't do that, he's going to be in some major trouble. And I don't know if he actually has the cards to get another attacker in play. That's... Huh, he's actually deciding to put a fighting onto his Sableye. That's, I'm not sure why he's doing that, because, you know, it's not really going to get you anywhere. It's kind of wasting your attachment for the turn. I guess he's thinking if I get an energy switch and a Terrakion, I'm going to drop both of those down. But, I don't know. I think, and oh, Crushing Hammer, that would have been huge, and he got Tails. Wow. That's the difference between Jason attacking next turn and not attacking. That's the difference between Dustin's Darkrai living and the Darkrai not living. And man, all of a sudden, man, that Crushing Hammer just changed the whole game. If that would have been heads, I think Jason would lose this game. But now, just kind of look at the situation we have here. Dustin will knock out this Darkrai. He's going to go down to 3 prizes, but just look at what's going to happen. Jason can Night Spear the active for 90, take out that Sableye for 30, and all of a sudden Dustin will be left with 0 energy in play. Zip, nada, no Pokemon in play besides a Sableye. And the game will be all tied up. And he'll be staring down a Darkrai with 3 energy on it. Not the situation you usually want to be in. And to make things worse, he's also going to get End down to 3 cards, because Jason does have an N in his hand. He will play the Mewtwo down. I think he probably just should play it down. Might as well. But then again, if... I mean, the only reason you would bench that is not to get benched out. And, you know, if Dustin knocks out your Darkrai next turn, you lose anyway. So I can see not benching it there. But he decides to just put it down, because there's really no harm in it. You know, worst case scenario, it gets catchered out, and then you have to waste energy retreating it, but that's not the end of the world. Might as well just get it down there. There's a chance that you might have to power it up anyway if you don't get Darkrai out of your prizes. But, you know, Jason is taking 3 prizes, so he's got pretty good odds of hitting a Darkrai. You know, 1/3 of his prizes are Darkrai's, 2 out of 6. So he's going to take 3 of them. Those are pretty good odds of getting a Darkrai out of there. And we're going to see a Night Spear, taking down the Darkrai and the Sableye, so 3 prizes there. A huge swing of events. And wait, did Jason actually... He did not get a Darkrai out of his prizes. Oh no. So this one Darkrai for Jason has to go the distance. And Dustin is Ultra Balling for his own Darkrai. Man, that is some bad luck for Jason. He doesn't have any Darkrai's left. He's going to have to just go manually attach Mewtwo and go with that, I guess, for the rest of the game. So Dustin, he gets a great hand off his end of 3. He gets a Juniper after Ultra Balling for a Darkrai. Really, he couldn't ask for much more. He's going to have an Eviolite. You can put that down as well. And he gets a Dark Patch. Wow. So this is going very, very well for Mr. Zimmerman at this point. Even though things look bleak, he can still make a comeback here. All he has to do is hit for 90 and knock out that Darkrai, and he's pretty much going to win the game. That's really it. Jason will not have a Darkrai left to attack with anymore. And Dustin will have his Darkrai to attack with, so that honestly is the game. The only obstacle standing in his way is that last one Darkrai right there. Now, he's debating whether or not to put down the Eviolite. I certainly would put that down this turn. There's no drawback to putting that down right now. Oh, he actually puts down a second Darkrai. Not sure if I like that or not. You might not need to bench that right now. But I would certainly put down the Eviolite. No reason to just risk taking extra damage here. But it looks like he's not going to do it. And he's going to junk hunt for a Dark Patch. And, you know, if I were him, I would take Gold Potion for sure. That's going to be a game, or that's going to be a card that can completely change the game. But oh, he actually goes for Energy Search instead. I guess he just wants to make sure he can get a Night Spear off next turn. Or maybe a Retaliate, I'm not sure. But either way, I still would have rather seen the Gold Potion there. That is just such a game-breaking card to have at your disposal in that situation. It's just healing 90 damage, that's just game. I mean, I cannot stress how important that is to get that back. For some reason, he decided it wasn't worth it. We do see Crushing Hammer from Jason, so wow, that is such a huge flip. Now he's going to be able to knock out the Sableye and take away the only energy Dustin had in play. We have an Eviolite going on Jason's Darkrai as well. So just everything, the momentum has completely shifted towards Jason's side. We saw Dustin take the first 3 prizes of the game. Everything was going his way. You know, the Gold Potion, all this stuff. And just like that, boom, all the energy is wiped off his board. Once again, all the energy is wiped off his board. Jason's going to go down to 2 prizes. That Darkrai now has an Eviolite, so it's going to be even tougher for Dustin to knock that thing out. And man, now you got to wonder, can Dustin actually win anymore? Which is a weird thing to think about. It seemed like he was in such a good spot. And you can just see how wildly things can swing in the game of Pokemon. You never know what's going to happen next. Now Dustin does get the Tool Scrapper. That's a big card to get to dump that Eviolite off of Jason's Darkrai. Because right now the Eviolite is preventing Night Spear from getting an easy knockout. So there is the Tool Scrapper. See ya, Eviolite. And does Dustin have anything else? I can't tell. Looks like he's got a catcher, but that's it. And the catcher's not really going to do a whole lot. And Jason finally got a Darkrai out of his prizes, so that is a plus for him. So it looks like Dustin's going to put down a Fighting onto his active Darkrai. I'm not sure why he's doing that. It doesn't give him free retreat. You would always prefer to have a Dark Energy there. He's going to take a look, see how many energies Jason's gone through, and how many energy switches and stuff like that, to see if he wants to waste his catcher, trying to buy a turn, bringing out a Sableye. I think he might as well. And he's thinking about it. Yep, there's the gold catcher, bringing out a Sableye, trying to strand it there. Trying to give himself any way he can to buy an extra turn. Just to get some energy in play. Because, you know, if he just knocks out that one Darkrai that's just been living for so long and that has 90 damage on it, if he can just knock that thing out, get it out of play, I'm pretty sure he wins. That's all there is to it. So if he can buy himself a turn, that's going to be huge. It looks like Jason drew a dark and an energy switch, so it's not happening. And Dustin's just going to have to pass. He didn't get a dark patch. He didn't get really anything. He didn't even get like a crushing hammer. That could have been big. So many cards could have helped him out. But none there. And now it just seems almost inevitable that Jason's going to pull this game off somehow. He's only got 2 prizes left. That means just one more Darkrai knockout will be the game. One more EX knockout. And man, this is extremely close. Both games have been very, very close. And it looks like just like at the end, Jason was the one who was able to just kind of get the momentum going. His Darkrai's were surviving at the end. Dustin's were going down. N was very crucial for Jason to disrupt Dustin at, in very important times. And Jason's going to put a Dark Energy on his Sableye. Obviously going to retreat. And let's see. He's also got a Dark Patch, so you might as well just use that to give his other Sableye free retreat, I suppose. No use in keeping that Dark Patch right now. Just, make yourself as safe as possible. We do see a Night Spear. And, geez, this is coming down to the wire, guys. This is it. Now, he does have a Terrakion he can put down. But he needs to retreat his Darkrai this turn. And also looks like time's been called, and Dustin is turn 1. So this is just as close as it gets. Suppose we could see... I would like to just see Dustin play an Energy Switch and move the fighting to the Terrakion. But he's just going to go for the N. The reason I would like to see that is just so he could, if he just gets a Dark, he could retreat, and then maybe next turn get another Energy Switch and a fighting, and then Land Crush for the game. But instead, he decided not to attach. And honestly, it comes down to this. He needs to be able to retreat this turn, first of all. But on top of that, he needs a bunch of other stuff. And it looks like that's it. He doesn't have any cards to stall the game out. He cannot attack this turn, and Jason Klaczynski will win the Oswego, Illinois City Championship 2-0 in the finals. Very well played by him. Well played by Dustin as well, but in the end, Jason is going to take this match. But thank you for watching, guys. I'm Pooka here from the Top Cut, and I will see you next time.